Sorry Old Woman is an Argentine silent film that was released in 1927. Now, the interesting thing about this film is that it's centered around a tango. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, cool, there's going to be a tango in it. No, it turns out that the lyrics of a tango is what makes this story. You know, a lot like Singing in the Rain or White Christmas here in America. That's what the director did for this one. Turns out that the director, Jose A. Ferreira, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I do apologize. No, he, especially during the silent era, a lot of his films were centered around tangos in one way or another. Either they were in his film or he did like with this one where he used a like the lyrics to push the story. So, not an uncommon practice in film, as we know. So, the idea of the film, now I had to watch it a couple of times because I wasn't quite understanding what was going on, but that doesn't mean that you won't get it. Yeah. It really isn't a confusing story. Okay, it really isn't. Now, the surviving footage that there is, it is a little blown out. If you've seen The Headless Horseman, it looks a lot like that. I don't know if that's because it was on purpose or because of how old it is. Okay. And I think that was part of the problem for me. Okay. Now, the story itself, you follow Carlos, and Carlos used to be a thief. He comes back home and he meets up with Nora. Nora is a prostitute and he ends up falling in love with her. Okay. Now, his mother, Elena, he is staying with her, uh, but she is falling in love with a Don Juan, major con artist, and is given a ring, and the ring is like the main culprit in this whole thing. And that was part of the problem that I had is following what is going on with this ring and Don Juan. So, um, basically, it's a whole case of miscommunication and that kind of a thing. Surprisingly, I will say this, uh, Carlos does not have to account for his past actions. I expected that. I full blown expected him to account for being a thief in the past, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I was because I figured that would come into the story somewhere, and it didn't. But that was my only gripe. And but anyway, so yeah, the the footage that they have, it's 30 minutes long. It's a short film. It's not the best, but I don't know if it's blown out because it's the same as like with Headless Horseman, if you remember that one, and it was filmed a certain way. But this is Sorry Old Woman. It's an Argentine film. It was released in 1927.